Alright, so the next object requires just a little bit different story here. It is a cylindrical story. So what I'm going to do is jump into my side view and click on it. You can see there's no UVs. Let's assign it the UV test. And this time I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go face. I'm going to highlight all the faces in this view that I can see. Notice I did it in such a way that the top and the bottom are not highlighted. Okay, that's very important. When doing a cylindrical map, you do not want any UVs that you can't see in this window or faces. You don't have to be in any special window to do this. I can just go into cylindrical mapping, and automatically everything kind of looks pretty good. But we broke our rule of the whole got to stay on the mat thing. So also, these aren't very squared. They're kind of rectangled. So what I'm going to do is kind of go like this to them until they're perfectly squared, which made it even further off the mat, which is fine. What we're going to do is scale those back here in a minute. I'll put them down here for right now. Well, here's some selection tricks for you. If I highlight all the faces here and then hold Control and click and drag a marquee selection here, it deselects. So these are the faces left over, and now we're getting into mixed projections. So the first one was cylindrical. The top one might be projection. Okay. So, or a planar map. In this case, I'll go to the top view, use that camera to do a planar map for this. Now I got this. And if I go back, you can see now I have UVs on both counts. If you look at these UVs, they're perfect as far as like the square here is the same shape as the square here. Okay, that's important. This is uniformed. We cannot have overlapping shells for assets, however, and I'll get into assets and non-assets. Assets state that anything that, let's say, a chair in a video game. You know, there's certain occasions that you don't want to stack the UVs on a chair because if you later on down the road, you might want to bake it, and baking with stacked UVs is bad. Okay, so just keep in mind right now we're going to stick to the basics. So this one, Control right click to shell. I lightly clicked on one UV, Control right click to shell, hit W on the keyboard, and I can move one shell off the other. What I generally do is kind of take this, move it to the center of these two circles, and take the whole thing and scale it all at once. Notice it scales the texture perfectly, and all the squares are the same size. Okay, there we go. Now, being that this is now uniformed, it's more important to keep it uniform sometimes than it is to try to take up the entire texture space. Oftentimes I see students going like this. Okay, don't do that. Keep it uniformed, keep it within the UV area, but keep in mind there is a lot of wasted space here. You know what I mean? This area right here means all kinds of detail being lost. So this is a very basic object. One object, I would say, if we're making multiple objects, you should definitely utilize this space more. This one's a little trickier. I'm going to do this in the next video. So this was cylindrical mapping, and that's how you lay out the UVs based upon uniformed. and we also use planar mapping, so it was kind of a mixed bag between planar and cylindrical. So in the next video we'll look at this one.